If you're responsible for building learning content for your organization, you know it can be challenging to extract subject matter expertise on certain systems and processes that you yourself might not be an expert on, which means you have to basically take and find out who owns that process or expertise in your organization and figure out how to basically shadow them to extract that knowledge. One of the main benefits of Iorad is that it's a browser extension that has next to no learning curve, meaning you can effectively give a subject matter expert access to the tool. They can capture how they do what they do and turn it over to you to clean up and add in the learning expertise. So, for example, let's just say I happen to be the expert in my CRM. I'm using Salesforce here. This could be applied to any subject matter expertise, whether it's a particular system like a software or a tool, or maybe it's a process that is used or done by a specific expert. The same rules apply. The idea would be all you need to do is assign access and credentials to that subject matter expert. Let's just say it's me in this case on my CRM. They would download the Iorad extension. So they would be a user within your Iorad account. And then you would just ask them to basically hit the extension and capture how they do what they do. So let's just pretend the process was show us how you add a new case inside Salesforce. So they would just hit the extension, hit the capture button, hit start. And they really don't need to know how to do anything. All they really need to do is just go through the process that they normally do in real time as if they were doing it themselves or trying to train someone sitting next to them. So they click a few buttons, they fill in some gaps. As they finish up that process, whether it was 2 or 3 actions or hundreds of actions, when they're finished, they just hit the extension again and hit done. And it's that simple for them to basically have built the entire tutorial. Because what has happened on the back end here is Iorad went in and it captured all the different actions that that particular user did during that process. So you can see in this case, it captured 9 actions. It took a screenshot each time that action was done, and it strung it together into this tutorial. So now you, as a learning professional, you don't need to know how that works. You don't need to know what that process even was. What you need to do is just head in, look at what they captured, and clean this up. So you can see this hover looks like it's a like an error here that's not needed. So you could delete that. You could look at this, make sure it aligns correctly. You could fill in the information. Maybe you want to edit that language. Maybe you want to adjust how it sits on the screen from like an instructional design standpoint. And you could basically just make all the L&D expertise that you would want in this piece of learning content. So now the SME doesn't have to be a learning expert and have to spend the time to build the content. They can just capture what they're already doing. And then you as the L&D professional don't need to endlessly shadow that subject matter expert. You can let them capture the process, and then they would just turn over the tutorial to you. You would head in and check it out, clean it up, make sure the branding was appropriate. Maybe you want to add in voiceovers here. Maybe you want to adjust how this is laid out with closed captioning and background music, any theming that might be appropriate. All that is stuff that you can do as the learning professional.